You guys got questions are coming in? Obviously, garage door, service. Could be anything. It's Sunday. You know, the live streams are always for you guys. They're for whatever you think of. Come up with some come up with something, questions, business. I love that stuff. And then don't forget, too, if you come through, hit the like button. I'm just sharpening the saw here right now. Just had a little bit of time. Been busy. Been real busy. Good thing. It's all good. It's all good, right? It's blessings. And no, I am not you how to sharpen this up. You want that kind of stuff, you watch YouTube, YouTube University, Buck and Billy Ray. He's got all kinds of stuff. There's other stuff. Buck and Billy Ray is a good dude to watch, but he doesn't explain it that well, does he? At least I don't think. But he does talk about it a lot. But you guys also have to remember, if you're one of them that sits in the background, and come up, man. Come up in the comments, ask the questions, email me. If you don't think it now, email me. Let me make sure the Wi-Fi's off. Hang on a second. Stand by. One more maybe. Maybe not. It's not working. Hopefully we don't jump back for it. Anyways, if we lose connection or whatever, let me know. I see Eric. What's up, Eric Freeze? Hope you're doing good. Good in the hood. Sitting there editing a video. And I could not believe in the video I'm editing it, right? Quality control. You'll see, you guys will probably see it come out Tuesday. If I remember. Tuesday's going to be a little busy. Yes. Actually, so what the thing is, right, you got to be proactive. I did some cutting the other day. So now the saw, we're cruising through, hit the like button. This help wakes up the algo. Good stuff. It's all good stuff. So I did it yesterday, a little bit of sand here and there. But I could tell. I was like, man, I can't tell if the rakers need to be brought down. It's not like I'm pushing it, not excessively, but I'm pushing to get, into the cut. So I said, I don't think I sharpened it the last time. So it'll be on the second tank. But it's amazing what a little sharpening, right? It's kind of why they always do, that's what I've tried to always advocate to some people, right? To somebody got to sharpen the saw, right? You'll go farther in life. I'm telling you, the best thing I found out in life is prep. Everything is prep. All I can relate it to is like a car, right? And I was the same way, right? When you wanted to spray that car, right? Spray that paint, and you're just like, I do a little bit of sand, and I'm like, it's good enough. And then you spray it. We got one like, too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. But, you spray it, and you didn't do enough prep work, right? So now it looks bad. You're like, oh, man, now you got to wait for it to dry, like really dry. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to wait for it to dry. And then do you leave it? Do you fix it? So, you know what I mean? It gets to be, you got to do the right prep work, right? Life is the same way. So getting the saw sharpened for the next time, not before, I'm doing it after. So it's ready to go for the next one. What's up, Mr. Tony? Going good? I had a minute. I was out here just sharpening the saw, enjoying my quiet time. Hope everybody's doing good. What we got this week, Tony? Got any big plans? Got any big old jobs lined up? And don't forget, like I said, if you're one of those guys in the background, you got questions about garage doors, bring them. We got a great community here. We'll get you some answers. Something that's still crossing my mind, though, that I'm surprised. Hey, I'm trying to park it there so I know where I stopped. Something I'm still surprised we came across in the garage door business. but I see it a lot of other places, is online. I'm really surprised we're still not seeing online booking in the garage door business. Oh, um, I wonder if Tony, you gonna get hit with that storm that's coming through today? I know, northern Michigan got hit with a, I believe up in Gaylord. Gaylord got hit pretty good with an ice storm, so I'm really thankful that we didn't get hit with that ice storm. That's a mess, man. Ice is a mess to deal with. Just an absolute deal. Something's acting funny on the phone. I don't know if I got a button pushed somewhere. And the holster, I don't think so. Why is it goofy? Let me check this out real quick here. There, let's try that maybe. If there's a button down low or something. You know, need that camera crew. Need the camera crew. Won't let me go down. Why can I not see? Come on, phone. Don't be like this. Be my friend. Oh, there we go. Eric's got. Oh, won't let me scroll like it should. There we go. Oh, my neighbor wants me to cut a tree in her backyard. It's kind of hard to cut a tree if the saw is broken. Telling you what, they got a lot of. I would definitely consider. I don't know why this thing's not letting me scroll. I consider one of those aftermarket, those Chinese too. If you just need to buy a saw, I would not be afraid. I've had some. So what it seems like, if you're gonna buy those I forget what they're called, Husqvarnas or whatever they're called, some stuff. What you got to do is sometimes the carburetors are a little goofy, so you might have to change the carburetor. But it's kind of like 1 out of 10 these people get these bad ones. But what I'm getting at is you can buy them so cheap. They're like a throwaway Bic lighter. So you can buy them for $400. And you got a running, you know what I mean? And you kind of think about it in a nutshell, right? At least you got new plastic, you got new hoses. If you don't use it all the time, you probably don't need the, whatever, the steel or the big brand ones is what I'm saying. Hey, we got 4 likes too, by the way. Thanks, guys, for hitting the like button. Oh, yeah, feels like a cat claw. That's what we like. That's what we like. Anybody doing the spring break? I'm losing I think Mr. Caleb's leaving. I think he's going for spring break, a little vacation. Tony, what's up, Eric? You got 4 doors? Nice. This thing's being so goofy for scrolling. What kind of doors? I'm just curious, Tony. Roughly what size? 16 by 8, 16 by 7, 2 9, 4 9 by 7s. All at one job, right? One location. Probably not. Sometimes those are pretty nice. I think what's always weird too is like One thing I noticed with the garage doors, when you have multiple, it just seems to fails me. It's very rare. I mean, I get a few here and there, but it seems like when I've always done 9x7s or whatever, smaller doors, when they're side by side. One, normally the first one seems like it's always janky. The second one, well, I can't say that. It can miss. But it's like always the second one or the first one or whatever, always runs smoother. And I'm always like, what the heck gives? Same guy, didn't have a helper that day, did all the same things. It's like I'm always sitting there just like, why does this one run so much smoother? It's like, I think it comes to the guy at the shop, the neighbor guy that runs a car dealership. I'm glad he said this to me one time, but he said, because we were talking about, I was talking to one of the worker guys and we were talking about trucks, and we had the same year and we had something and he sold me one and I bought another one, and it's amazing with vehicles. You can have the same year, same make and model and everything, and there's something different. They just feel different. Like maybe one handles better, one goes through the snow better. But anyways, this guy, the neighbor guy said, he says, there ain't one car that comes off the assembly line that's exactly the same. And I just thought, man, I'm really glad he said that, because I've had 3 or 4 vehicles in my life that were the same. Like when I used to buy some vehicles and flip them, or I'd drive them for a little bit and I'd fix them, sell them. And I just remember that always being the case. Like I had I think the 2004s, roughly, maybe 07s, Dodge Ram trucks, right? Same year, one even had less miles on it, and this truck handled like crap, and I could never figure out why. The other truck was a one-hand truck, right? You just cruise this truck, had more miles, a little bit different setup, tires, maybe and stuff, but just handled so much, just felt comfortable. You ever have that with a vehicle, like where it just feels like it's to the ground versus you're always fighting it, like it's, what do they call it? It's on rails. I think the green spring, what was that? Oh, the green spring got online. Ooh, oh, maybe you're right. I have to check that out. First time I've heard of it. First time I've heard of it, so that's good. It's online booking. I'm surprised we don't have a software yet. Maybe Service does it. Service Titan. I don't know. Service Titan? Anybody do Service Titan? Because I don't think you can do it with Jobber. Jobber's is so across the board. It's not designated to the garage door industry. Tony's got. What's Tony got? Supposed to have some rain today. Looks like the sun is trying to come out right now. It's gloom and doom. Been gloom and doom all day. 6 likes, by the way. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Yeah, it's been gloom and doom. Hit and miss with rain. I think later today, we're around 5 o'clock is when we're having our little waft of thunderstorms coming through. So, what's up, Mr. Evan? Got all your tools ready? How you gonna load all those tools up, Mr. Evan? So I'm hoping on this one, I think we're gonna be doing possibly Tuesday. I'm gonna do another. So I've been thinking. I think about a lot. I think about the young bucks, right? I think about Evan a lot. How I do it, or what I might do different. And so I was thinking about like a Ready Rental. Ready Rental. That's a local company, good company. I was thinking of a U-Haul, potentially, because basically it's going to be $50. Now, you got some mileage if you're driving a lot, but luckily for us, we're 5 mile famous on this. And so I'm thinking, like, we're not going to have, it's $50 basically. $50, 2 days. And I was running the numbers past the wife a little bit. We didn't get hardcore into it. And I told her, I said, are we starting to get close enough in the world? I said, where it'd just be more beneficial. I said, be more beneficial just to rent a service vehicle. Now, before you guys just get all your underwear up in a bunch. Now, I'm talking for the guy that does a door maybe 2 or 3 times a month, right? Just putting it out there. I've never had too much blowback. I've had ready or U-Haul trucks before, And customers have asked me, and I've just blown them off, and I just tell them, I say, well, my truck's in the shop right now. You know what I mean? And what I'm hoping for is hopefully I can try one of their Ford ones. Hopefully I get locked up with one of the Ford ones, because I think they're called the Ford Transits. I'd like to see how they're out a little bit. Maybe that'll be a next service vehicle. Maybe, you know. I don't know if they're front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive. They got so many options now with those Ford ones. I don't know, but just for hey, fit it out. You know, I can throw wood in there. The door will fit in there. Thing is the Nissan's got a small leak. I don't know about Mr. Caleb's truck, but I just figured it gets us down to one truck. And so I'm, you know, remember, right? You were owning and you would be happy. That's what the Gov says. Hey, Evan, Rusty's in there. What's up, Rusty? Hope you're doing good on the fine Sunday. He's got these weird bevels to him. Message deleted on it. Thanks, Eric. Come on, I'm trying to scroll up. My phone's being really glitchy. When I started the live, it was didn't like that too. I thought, what's going on with this thing? Technology, right? Just when you're at the cash register. So do I go up here and push on the screen, or do I go down here? Where do you want it, phone? Where is the tickle spot? I don't think this has another button on the side, so it's not like I'm squeezing a button. Oh, Tony says, I'm buying a made in China excavator. Better buy one quick. I heard there's a video out there, a guy was talking about the tariffs on those. They were bringing it up another, I don't know if it was 1,000 or 3,000 or 5,000, but they were still cheaper than buying the name brand Kubota, Bobcat. I've been looking at one. Maybe, Tony, you buy one, use it for a little bit, it's used, I'll come pick it up, because I got some stuff I got to get done. Hopefully, soon. It's really hard though, because every time I think about it, right? I had a tractor. I had a John Deere. I don't think anybody here has probably had a John Deere 440. I think it was a 1968, something like that. Now that I had another, I had a 420, same year-ish, 67, 68, 69, somewhere in there. That one had a lot more power. I think the other one was running on basically one cylinder, now that I know. Or a cylinder was leaking pretty bad or something. Because it was running, but it didn't have the power to crawl up a trailer like the 420 did. Anywho, the 440 had a backhoe and had a front bucket. Boy, I used the crap out of that at one of the older houses. Hogging, just stumps, you name it, you know what I mean, trenches. But it was kind of bulky, so a little mini excavator would work really nice. But I think what I keep coming to the conclusion every time I go, I'm going to get me one of those, I go, I'm just going to rent it. I go, I just need to make a time, weekend, a week, whatever that's going to be, and I dedicate it, and I just use it and abuse it. Not really, don't do that. Use it, and then I can just send it back. I don't have to worry about oil changes. I don't have to make weird noises. I don't have to worry about batteries. I just send it, and I'm done, and I do my project, and I spend $600, and I'm off to the races. You know what I mean? I got a lot, which sometimes I do have a lot, so I still think about it, but we'll see. Each their own. It's still not scrolling. Here we go. Evan says, I didn't realize it was, I think it's around April 7th is when that kicks in. April 7th or something like that. So that's what somebody told me. Because I was at a dentist the other day with one of the kiddos, and they were saying something about the next week they were going. And then the fact that Mr. Caleb's leaving. I think he's heading out Thursday of this coming week. I think he comes back Sunday. I could be wrong. Maybe Tony knows this, or maybe one of you guys know this. Did spring break tone down a lot compared to whatever it used to be? Like, I'm used to from like the 2000s, you know, the 90s, 2000, right? When you used to watch the whole thing on TV and the MTV and the girls and the, you know, and they were, woo. I mean, it was like a big old party, man. Like, they showed the whole beachfront, and I mean, it was just massive amount of people. I don't think it's like that anymore. Am I wrong? Or is it still party town? I mean, I thought that all got down for some reason. Oh. Hold on, scroll. Scroll, phone, scroll. It's so slow. I got to do it like 5 times. Just need a new bar. Oh, okay. He says it's just hard to find parts for a 1985 Homelight XL Mini. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they I don't know how they do that. Seems like I found out that most bars, not always, you know, me too. Most bars are interchangeable to some degree. Sometimes you have to drill out that oil hole a little bit or something, but for the most part, you know, they're kind of semi-universal. So hopefully there's something out there. But I know what you mean. It's hard. It's kind of like I used to have the McCulloch. I used to have an old McCulloch. I like that saw. I do miss that saw. I was more scared because it didn't have the safety on it. I always, you know, feel like I'm kind of an amateur when it comes to that stuff. But I shouldn't have probably got rid of it. It was a cool saw, but I just didn't like the way the chain went on. And it was a little bit clumsy, and there was times where I just was like, I need this thing to work. Like, I need it to work. So I upgraded. Ooh, Evan's on it. Somebody been time out. Tony says for 12, we need more likes. Hit the like button if you would, please. Yeah, we got 6. Thank you guys for getting me at least 6. We got 6. And like I said, if you're starting out, or if you're older or younger or middle age or deceased, I don't care. Put stuff in the comments. Like I said, you got questions. That's why I do these. We got a great community here. They can help with things. Getting people kind of behind. You know, I know they're, you know, hey, I've been watching, and then they email me, which is totally fine too. But like I said, it's always a great time. If you got questions, don't be scared. There's no dumb question. Like we all didn't just get here overnight. You know, this is taking years for all of us. We have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. Got to get out there, man. Got to get out there. Work those tools. Tony's got 16x7. 2 of them. Then 8x7. And, 9x6. 6. Caught the 6.6, did you? 3-inch increments. That's what they go by, right? You can do what? 6'3", 6'6", 6'9". If you go to 7 foot, those are important. If you're a young lad, I've screwed many a times, and it seems like you find out when you're installing it always seemed like when I was putting up the weather seal, I'd be like, why is the weather seal, especially the top, like why is it in the short panels, the ribs or whatever, the stamping so badly? It looks horrendous. That's where they'll get you. Sometimes they'll also get you on the headroom a little bit, because I don't know if they really change the headroom that much. I think they do on the tracks, maybe just a touch, but I just know it's better to measure. That's why I always had on my cheat sheets, I would have existing, and I would have jam opening. I have to turn the heater off. It's getting a little toasty. I turned it on because I figured I was going to get cold, but now I might have turned it off because I'm going to get a little warm. Watch the old temperature. What is they roughly? We're about 51, 52. So that's cool though. 6'6", huh? I don't know if anybody's experienced 3-inch low headroom. Do. 3 jobs, 3 locations. How far, Tony? Like close? 5 Mile Famous? 20 Mile Famous? At least 20 Mile Famous. Kind of like the Lowe's, right? Lowe's always knows. But Lowe's always they did 20 miles was their theory, right? They did 20 miles. Anything else outside of 20 miles, they started charging for. So I know we talk about the 5 and famous. Trust me, closer is always better, but sometimes we have to be realistic. Okay, so I already did that one. Now we're off to the next side. Let's see what we're up against here. Ooh, the Invicta. Oh, snap. The Invictadors, huh? You still liking the Invictadors, eh? I don't have West. West is somewhere he's hiding. Oh, actually, I see him. Actually, I put him up. He's sitting over there. He's looking at me, staring me down. I should put little eyes on him. Come on, baby, scroll. There we go. Just preparation for Wednesday. Have to go pick up proper level and maybe some shims today. Some shims are good. I was actually trying to think about. I was thinking about Rich B. I don't know if Rich B's in the chats today, but he was using something to shim out, and I still can't remember what he was using. He sent me a picture too a while back. But I have these 1 thick or 1/2 inch thick boards right now. I'm gonna grab this level. I want to show you. I just picked up this guy. This is actually a master. This is from Menards. I know you don't have Menards, but what is this? A 4 foot? I think it's a 4 foot, roughly. Probably 4 foot level. But I like the magnet. It feels nice. I mean, it's a cheap level, but what got me was that on both sides, it looks like it has the same kind of level. I don't know what's up with levels. I have no idea what it's for. Some have like this weird slotted, huge bubble on there that I'm just like, what is that? Where I'm like, I just need levels. I just need bubbles and nothing fancy. But I was using this the other day, and I like the magnet on there. I like the magnet. I like it that you can set it on track. It's really got a nice feel for a cheap level. I bent my other one. I had a what was it? I think that was I got a bigger one here. I think it was a Johnson's. I think is what it was. Had a little kink to it. I got called out on it. I handed it to a guy, and he was like, "You need to throw this level away." I said, "It's fine on the other side." He goes, "This thing's bent." I said, "I bent it back," and so I finally decided to spend a few dollars. But I went with the cheaper one because most of my stuff like this is going to get destroyed or bent, or it'll walk away. But not bad for a cheap level. I like it. Just something I thought you should know. I like the magnet ones too, especially for when you're hanging around garage doors. I didn't want to spend the big money and buy one of those wood ones like my uncle always tells me I gotta have. But those ones are perfect. I've seen those ones warp too. This one looks pretty straight. Anywho, I just wanted to show you my magnet. Well, my level. So I actually got some boards. So I do carry that, and then I carry I think they're bullet levels. They're made for blocks. I carry those too. That's gotten me out of a pinch. So shims are good, but I do like to have some actually bigger stuff, right? Because I normally see it on the wood door, and that's what we're doing. We're taking out a wood door. The wood doors always do something weird with their seal. You know how they block it in, or it's like a piece of trim that you don't want to take off. So I got some chunks that are already 4 inches wide. I'm bringing the saw. I got to shim it out. I'm just going to shim it out instead of cutting it, because I've been there. Who's been there? Done that? Take the saws off, run it up sides, really, really stinks, and the board's all whopping, and the paint's all chipping. You're sitting, going around the whole thing, and it's all wavy. It's just not fun. I want to have fun, okay? That's not fun. Do. Eric's guy goes, I don't know why, but he says the high mileage vehicles drive the best. That's the truth. It's almost like they've been through the ruckus or whatever you want to call it. You know, they're tuned. Somebody got them tuned in finally. Yeah, I was kind of watching the radar. I figured I had to figure instead of would you say snow briefly? I figured you were having a blizzard, like I said up there. Anything touching you, nothing but snow. It's got to be cold. What's the temperature up there? Do Fahrenheit. Do Fahrenheit. Not Celsius. I know you're going to tell me Celsius. Tony says, oh, just creep up my crack. Oh, I love it. I love it. Scroll. Come on, you can do it. It gives me this little scrolls. What's Evan got? He says, I think if we end up doing disposal of the door, we either use trailer and the SUV or borrow the neighbor's truck, pay him with a bottle of whiskey. I was thinking about that too. That's one thing I was thinking about was how you're gonna now. I think it's a metal door. I don't know if you have. You might want to put a post out there. You might want to see if you can line up a scrapper. How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna change it, or am I just gonna roll with it? I think I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna try. This is not my. Oof, this is hard doing it this way. Can't do it that way. I gotta like change the pitch. So how it's thinking about it, it's like you could cut it up, but you're definitely not gonna want to put sharp metal in a vehicle. Just set it off to the side, right? Set it up to the side in the yard or something, a little side driveway, and if you can get somebody, to be honest, sometimes scrappers, not all, right? You might want to have two on the hook and say, hey, look, I probably wouldn't give them the address. I give them a roundabout. I wouldn't give them nothing specific until I'd say, if you're going to be around that day, I'll give you, I will be there in a window. And I don't know how to bulletproof it. Try to bulletproof it because those people, some people just aren't that bright and they'll yank you around. And last thing you want to do is give them the address and they're not going to show up. So I'd make sure that they're, what I'd probably do, I'd probably actually make sure somebody's at a location. Give this address. You tell me when you're there. That way, at least they moved, they drove there, right? And then say, can you just take a screenshot of something, the gas station, pump, sign, and then I'll give you the address, And that way they're in motion, they're serious. And then I'd say, okay, well, I'm just 2 minutes around the block. Come on down, Oh, scroll, phone, scroll. I didn't even see Rusty showed up. What's up, Rusty? Let me turn the heater off for a second. No reason to have it running. No reason to have it running. No reason to have it running if it's oh shoot. Rusty says, sorry Dave. He says Tony is renting it to me. So this is gonna come to Pennsylvania next. Dang it. I just had to buy my own. Spend the big dollars. Oh, I hit something. Scroll, baby, scroll. Oh, Eric says, he says with the Chinese stuff, you can probably make it last if you baby it. Yeah, I don't, it's always weird because, there's a lot of, it just all depends. I always look at things, right? It's kind of like the Harbor Freight, right? When I go to Harbor Freight, I'm always like, yeah, it's a 50-50, right? But the price is right. It's like when people always ask me too, they're always asking me, especially like I said, you start getting workers in your life, employees, or a lot of construction stuff going, people are, do you want the extended warranty? And I go, no. I go, we'll never use the extended warranty. I said it will either get stolen, it'll get lost, it'll get left on the road. I said, no. I don't want to pay the extra $3 for the silly warranty, and then I have to bring back a receipt that I left in the dash for half an hour, and now it's bleached white, and you can't read it. And then you have to get your manager, and then you can only prorate me and only give me $1. That's not worth my time. So But most of the stuff, it just always depends on what you're doing. Like me, it's like, right, like, I mean, who in their right mind would ever use a plastic fork? But when it's quick, easy, it's a picnic outside, you use a plastic fork. Don't want to use it all the time in my house? No. But I use a fork a lot. I use a butter knife. I use a steak knife a lot. So yeah, you want to have metal, you want to have stainless steel, nice stuff. So it all depends to me on how and what. But there is a lot of videos actually on those Chinese ones um, that do hold up for the most part. Now, like I said, if you had a full, every day, but I liked how the one guy, like I didn't realize, even for one of my skid steer, I think I only put, I couldn't believe it. It's been 2 years now. I've been naughty. I've been naughty. I haven't changed the oil in it in 2 years. I think it says to change it every 600 hours, and it's been 2 years. And I was like, I need to really change that oil. So I started getting into it, and I got labor where I got stuff, and it only had 200 hours on it. And I was like, in 2 years? I was like, this thing's only got 200. And I'm sitting there like thinking about it going, okay, I've seen these things conk out at around, 5 on the generous side, to 8,000 hours on them. And this thing's only got 38. And I'm thinking, holy crap, I could probably still get another X amount of years out of it because it just doesn't get used that much. You know what I mean? It's not getting a ton of hours on it. So it just, I think some of that stuff too, and then especially if you can shelter it, that's a big thing because everything's got breathers on it and spiders and everything else likes to get in there. Those mud ants or whatever they are, or bugs. So if you can keep it in shelter, that's a big thing. The hoses, all that kind of stuff, the sun. So I don't know, and like I said, with the saws even, you can, you can buy those cheap ones. Like I said, if you're just doing a DIY, I'd roll with it. $400, $600, you can get a big saw, and I've used them. They work. So it's the Chinese got something for them. Unfortunately, I mean, probably most of our tools, right? In Milwaukee, I think you guys tell me at Timco, they do a lot of that stuff too. Oh, what's that? This guy, he says, I've heard parts on the offshore equipment hurts later when repairs are underway. Ooh, could be. Might be kind of hard to find too. Maybe it's like the whole printer thing, right? The printer's cheap, but when you go to buy the ink, you're like, holy crap, that's where they get you. So I don't think it's as bad. Tony's got as bad now. It's so hard to say nowadays, As guys, I don't know if Homeway, he says, I thought you were talking about small Timu excavator. Ha. Well, we're talking about both. So good. You're good. Oh, there it goes. It finally released. I can scroll. 3 inches on height, 2 inches on width. Oh. Didn't kind of know that. And chainsaws. Tony says, no more than 20 miles. Perfect. Yes. That's awesome. I like them close. Like them close. I'm already like prepping it. You know what I mean? I was like, get in town. I was like, we're going to do, hey, we got 8 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. I was already thinking about where we can do lunch. I was like, oh yeah, I got this little place. We can do lunch. We can do a door. We can do lunch. Because I know this place, right? But when you go out of town, I don't know this place. I have to look for a place. Totally, if someone calls you over the phone and gives you their address, do you tell them you're too far away, or do you just give them a price and see if they take it? I have that same hat. What? Got the same hat? I only have this hat. It all depends. It is important to get the address. But that's why I always tell people, if you're a secretary, if you're a worker, or if you're a technician, or you're the owner, right? People don't understand. A lot of people don't understand. At least this is my opinion. That one thing with business, right? It's super duper ooper hard to get the phone to ring. Get the damn phone to ring. You get the phone to ring, right? You do whatever you got to do. Same day service. You provide this. You're cheap. Whatever. How you do it. However you spin it. Whatever your flavor is. right? You got excellent Google reviews, blah blah. But you always have the power. If you don't know, tell them, just communicate to them, say, look, let me call you back in 10, 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you want to tell them, and let me check. I don't really know. I'm a little bit new. Or I just, let me look at the schedule and can I give you a call right back? You know what I mean? And most people are fine with that. They'll be like, all right, yeah, not a problem. You know what I mean? But now you got to make sure you follow through it. But that's your time to do a little investigation if you need to. If something doesn't sound familiar, I've had it too. Like I've told them, like, I'm like, what city is that in? Like they'll code or something, and I'm like, zip code will always get you normally too. And I told them, I'd be like, man, boy, you're just outside or something of our area. I most time just turn it down, in my opinion, because there's just always so much more to do. There's trucks that need to be cleaned. There's equipment that needs to be fixed. Things that need to be ordered. Deliveries that need to be taken. Um, you know, that's just me. But I mean, if you're just starting out and you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs, truck's clean, all your tools are put away, and nuts and bolts are perfectly aligned. Sure, go for it. Go for it. I get it, right? $20 is $20. So do what you got to do. Come on, scroll. Eric says anything over 20 is waste of time. He says you would already be spending $10 on petrol. Oh, come on, scroll just a little more. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, it just everybody's situations, everybody's demographics different, and I just personally believe, like I said, when you got to travel, that is the kiss of death. I've ran multiple other businesses, and it just never fails that when you're finally sitting in that truck, you know, when you're sitting in that truck or van or car, whatever it is, right? Like literally driving. You know how your brain can like start processing and thinking? You're not on the phone, you're not on the computer, you're not dealing with this, and you're sitting there driving and you're just like, you guys ever do that? I do it all. I'm like, this was stupid. This was stupid. Oh my gosh. Did I verify? Because like there is a process, like realistically, right? The day before, the evening, you need to contact the customer. And I definitely, customer was contacted the night before, driving there the next day, and I'm serious. I had a company do this to me, and I'm about ready to make that's going to be implemented across things because meet time was whatever 10 o'clock. Hey, just letting you know on the way the next day. Now they already validated or verified the next that evening prior, the day before, that things were good. Now they're not answering, they're not responding. It's almost like you got to be like, if you don't answer your phone, they're not going to show up. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, did they forget? Did they have a family emergency? Did they take a kid to the dentist? Are they still sleeping? But the reason still went through with it was because it was local. Now, if it would have been all of 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours away, hell no. Because that would be a really big kick in the butt if, you know what I mean, you were to drive out there 2 hours. Could you imagine driving out 2 hours? I've had it happen. Somebody showed up. I've had old senior people. I had somebody, I thought it was you guys. Was it not you guys? No, it wasn't us. I called you last night. I don't know. They just showed up. And they took care of it at 7 o'clock this morning. 7 o'clock this morning. Yeah, I was in my pajamas. Oh, I've had it happen. So when you put that distance in there, rolling the dice. What you got, Rusty, on there? It says, only shims you need is a straight screwdriver. What, to pry off the old or something? Flat bar? I don't know. Sometimes it's just easier to shim those out. They got that weird lip, because if you put them on, you know what I mean? If you don't have adjustable tracks, well, I think sometimes adjustable tracks still can't get you out far enough, Oh, that's what it was. I'm just coming to me. Rich was talking about some kind of round washer, I think it was. I was like, what are you talking about? Do. Or a piece of cut off trim. What does it say? Any more bottom rubber won't seal. piece of trim. I've used that before. You take off something, whatever, chunk of wood, whatever. I just like them to be. I like a little more surface area. So I figure these are 4 by whatever. I got chunks and I got a couple licks of them, 8 foot. I just figure I bring those just to be safe. Plus, I will bring shims. Now I think of this, I guess still bring shims just in case. Shims always just look kind of gaudy. They spin. You guys ever have that, right? You go to drill through a shim, on the flag for the side wood buck, jam, whatever you try to call it, and it spins on you like almost revolution, but it goes crooked and it doesn't look that nice, I think. So I probably don't need a 72. No, I don't think so. I don't think you need that big of level. Don't think so. Don't think so, Johnny. What is that? 72. How big is that? Is that like this big one I got over here? Let me check. That's a 6-footer. Nah. This one's a 4-footer, I'm sure. 4-footer. Let's see here. This is I bought this one for, I don't remember what I bought this one for. This is a big, that's on the ground. Is it? Johnson. It's a big Johnson. But see, like this one, does this one do it? I thought this one did it too, but maybe not. They did some weird level on it. But yeah, this would be a 6-footer. Yep. Oh, this one's actually 70. It's odd. Didn't know they did that. So this is actually bigger. It's a 6'6" or something, it says. It's a big one. This one's got a magnet too. But no, 4-footer do fine. I think your biggest thing is, like I said, the guys know you got to go off the door, right? For your track. Because if you get your track, that's what that cable will go goofy on you. That's why I like just to use laser, which actually I brung both. Yeah, both. I was going to shoot a laser at the very top for my track because I just don't like to think because I'm lazy. That's just how I roll. I don't like to tape measure it and sit there and really. I just throw a laser. I put stuff up. I go, it's good. I never even really cared about it until probably last, 5, 6, 8 years now. I never really had much of a problem. It's like, I don't know if I just got better. I sometimes measured off the ceiling too. I've done that before, I think. Put a level up against the ceiling. If it's drywall or something, long as it's not really heavy chunkies. The drywall is semi-level. The ceiling, I've measured down from the ceiling just to get something reference. Especially if sometimes those spec homes, the driveway's got it'll, you know what I mean? They got sand under it because they're spec homes. Tony says, hey Dave, he says, I got you being Chandler. He says, mine was 2.5 years old. Oh man, with Papa? Nice. Yeah, you got me beat. Definitely got me beat. I don't think I've had that young yet. Calling the child labor on you. I'm calling them. Sears level? Dang, dude, take a picture of that sometimes, Eric. Send it to me. 40-inch wooden Sears level? That's sweet. An old Sears. Dang. Sears. Not Craftsman. Sears. That's pretty cool. 28 Fahrenheit. Brr. Brr. Yeah, we've been sitting in the 50, 56. Almost. No, I don't know if it's quite 60. Perfect. 28 Fahrenheit. Got it. Zoe says, hi, hello, hope you're doing good. Ooh, he is here. Rich, what were those things? If you haven't put it in the comments below, what are you using for shims? I forget what they're called. They had a word for them. The weather is coming. I'd be scared. 20's got what's up, Mr. B. Chainsaws are the best. To take your leg off, then it's the rest. Hey, Tony. Richard. What's up? Nice. Elevator's amazing. I believe I just emailed you. Hopefully everything's good. Hello. Haven't been online in so long. How have you been doing, sir? I've been doing great. I think everybody's doing pretty good. Hope you're doing good. Breathing, kicking. Still paying those taxes. Still paying those taxes, baby. Got to keep eyes in the skies. Ooh, tornado. Dang, man. That's some gnarly stuff right there. Tornadoes. No, thank you. No, thank you. We don't need none of that. I know, like I said, Upper Michigan, Gaylor, like I said, they got huge ice, a lot of power outage. I looked up, I think it was like, gosh, a little bit of storm coming now, a little bit of rain. Um, but man, that ice stuff, ooh, that's gnarly, man. A lot of trees, a lot of power outages. Oh, Rich sent it. He sent me something. It's those some pucks. Let me see if I can scroll on here real quick. I apologize. What is it called, Rich? Channel, strut channel, something it was for strut. I think it's for those metal struts. So that's how I use this for washing. They're square blocks with a hole in the center. Perfect for doing garage doors. I think he got them at Menards last time he was telling me. Is it going, Rich? The sun went away here. I think it's a whole line. I think it's coming down by you a little bit too, Mr. Tony. So it's heading northeast. That's not good. That's this way. Coming by me. Dang. Oh, come on, scroll up, please. There you go. Happy Sunday. That's right. Happy Sunday, by the way. Hope everybody's got, it's like Sunday. Oh, the work week's coming. 28 is a nice spring day here. Yeah, for Evan, for sure. Strut washers. Got it. Got it. Evan's guy says another couple months before we start worrying about tornadoes. Oh man, that's stuff, man. Seems like Michigan gets a lot of straight line. We don't get so many tornadoes. We've been having a few, but a lot of straight line winds. Those what was it, a couple years ago? I think over by the shop. Ooh man, it was the shop. The shop's gotten hit before though. Got that phone call from saying, "Hey, there's a couple trees, it's not good, man." I know there's a few that need to be taken out, unfortunately. But yeah. Loves the voice. Oh, thank you. It ain't as good as like Paul Harvey, or who was the guy that I just listened to? Bob Kingsley. I think it was Bob Kingsley. Anybody remember Bob Kingsley? He used to be on the Country Night Showdown. What was it called? Bob Kingsley. I came across it. Blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. Now, how can I figure this one out? Here we go. Bob Kingsley. American Classic Country Showdown. I don't know what's called. Showdown. Forget what it is. Figure out what the. Whoa, you stay right there, buddy. Got to get me a nice. This was about the best vice I could find for the price. I don't know what it is, but it's not the best. It doesn't work the greatest, but it does work. The Irwin. I don't know what it is. It works. I got a nicer one, but this one does for now. Vices are expensive, especially if you're buying a good one. Tony's got LO. Don't be getting too excited. Whoa. Get this puppy sharpened up. If you're still on, maybe we could do one later. Maybe. I just did one now because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get later. The schedule's been so messed up lately. Like I said, it's just been juggling. I'm actually on babysitting. My kids are, well, my one, she's older, so she does really good. Gonna grab the level. Gonna go to Home Depot. I don't even know what kind of Home Depot has. See how much they are. Take some pictures. See what the prices are. I wish I knew what I paid for this one. It wasn't too terribly bad. What else? Shims. What else do you need? Home Depot, all kinds of stuff, man. You can spend a lot of money at Home Depot. You go there, it's like a kid's playground. They got all those luscious tape measures. Buy yourself, get yourself a laser, about $300, $600. I don't even know if they sell lasers there. I'm sure they do. I just don't know if they sell the good ones. Seems like a lot of stuff that's kind of more expensive. They make you. I wonder if there's stuff at. I wonder if stuff at Home Depot for Evan is locked up like it is around here. You know, these are behind cages. All that good stuff. So we think we got that one. I don't look at the schedule. So that one's, I think, is 16 by 8 with a roll of insulated. I read on there it said insulated glass. So I think it's just a standard white door. But it's weird. The door does not look like it's a wood door. But it says in the notes it's a wood door. Turn out wood door. I don't know if I'm going to cut her down. Sometimes I don't like doing that. I feel kind of bad doing that, like right in front of the customers, ripping their old doors down sometimes. And sometimes you make sawdust. So, I don't know yet how I'm going to approach it. If you guys got any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll stay on here for as long as the comments keep rolling in. Otherwise, I'm just going to go to my solitude. I'm just going to go to filing in my quietness here. Which ones did I do? I did this one. All right. I believe I did you. Just give it a nice little brush. I was thinking about it though when I was doing that video that I was editing. And I was thinking about how with the maximum garage door openers, you can't hold the stop button. Now I know that's not technically the right way to lock out a opener, but I was thinking, you know, like with the ones with the 3 buttons, you can always, I thought I had 3 buttons sitting here looking at me. You know how you, yeah, I got one right here. You know how you like lock, you push in that, and you can put a coin in there, a chunk of wood, or this guy. Stick that down in there, and that'll keep it from running. I don't think you can do that on the Maximums. Those new push buttons that they have, because I think they push. I think they're pushed outwards. I was thinking about that. So, huh. Built us. Next. Just something so glorious about sharpening this saw. It's just relaxing. It's therapeutic. I don't know why. Ooh. Rusty's got it. He says, Dave, are you planning on spending more on Google List this year? Tony Rich? I am planning on doing something because, like I said, I'm going to try to focus it more down is what I'm thinking needs to happen. And my personal opinion is I don't think this is going to be a gangbuster year. I know Mr. T's working on stuff, and I just don't see it being in the cards. You know, this stuff, you know, it's funny how this stuff takes so much time, and even myself, how we forget things, right? Like, isn't it weird to think that, what was it, 3, 4, 5 years ago, 3, 4, I don't know what it was, right? I mean, interest rates were really low. Like I was even telling myself, like interest rates can't go higher. People won't accept it. But then they did. We had a cough syndrome and all this other kind of stuff. And I think personally a lot of stuff is manifested to stimulate. Like there is some, like I'm going to get a little weird here, but I think there's something behind, like whoever invented money is like they're out of this world. Like I think they're like aliens or something. I don't know. Because the way the money works and how, like, I don't understand why they still want to drain it out of you. If it's just to keep you busy, I'm not sure. But and then they tax you, and then you get taxed again, and tax again, and tax again. So, but I just don't think this year is to be a gangbuster. I mean, I'm seeing the signs that a lot of cars are starting to be discounted. Some of the new cars. I think a lot of people are fed up. I think a lot of people. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I couldn't tell you really anything to buy right now. That's good quality. Quality control has really gone down the drain on just darn near everything. I mean, there. I guess I was even talking to one of my cousins that's in construction, and he's like, "Heck yeah!" He goes. He was telling me all just kind of stuff: siding, lumber. What was it? Something was off, and what was it? I forget what it was. It was like a sheet or something. Sheet of ply. I don't know what it was. But he was just like, heck yes. He goes, man. He goes, they don't put the glue on it right or something. Blah blah. I mean, and I'm just like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, never used to be this bad. And I was just like, man, that's refreshing to hear because you know how when you keep seeing something but you don't ever hear anybody talk about it, and it's like you're like, it must just be me. I must have just got a bad batch or whatever. Um, but I'm just seeing it across the board with so many things. Um, so I just don't think this year is still going to be a gangbuster. I think it's going to be kind of survival mode, honestly. Um, I mean, there's just so many things I've been seeing between even concrete guys to I just don't see and there's going to be there's just certain people we're doing great. We're so busy. We've never been busier. Well, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But I think in a whole, I don't see it. You know what I mean? It blows my mind right now. This whole the Tesla thing going on. Now people, kind of libs normally want the electric cars, and then now you got them like basically protesting the electric cars because it's Musk, and I mean, it just sometimes we just got to turn this technology off. But it's just funny how what a strange world we live in. I mean, and to me, it's like a snow globe. Like we live in a snow globe. Just do this to agitate us, to get us to, look over here. No, now look over here. Like I was just seeing somebody, I think there was on a little comment or something. They were saying how they go, like chickens. Chickens are the new toilet paper of 2025. And I was like, that's kind of funny. I was like, that seems like it is kind of it. Um, so, I don't know. Do 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 do. Oh, scroll up. Oh. Do 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 do. Tony says, "I'm rusty. I don't know though." He says we're doing pretty good, and I don't have to spend anything. He says we're not swamped, but we're doing good. Do good in the hood. Um, I don't want to get too much until I get my guy trained. Get the guy trained. Yes, totally agree. Yeah, that might be the case. I'm trying to think of, you know, it might be like, I might even just do like some bandit signs, like the ones you put on the road or something. I really dislike the whole Google and stuff like that. It's not that it's like, but it's like you got to have everything in line, right? Like you got to have your website ready to go. You can really just spend money. It's kind of like spend it and forget it, and or you don't know if you're getting the return unless the secretaries are asking very diligent, "How'd you find us?" Blah blah blah. I don't know if we're gonna go that hardcore because, like for us, it comes in waves, right? We're one of those things. We're very fortunate in our city. We're very saturated. The roots are very deep, so we don't. There isn't much unless we want to go gangbuster and get two more service vehicles and push something, to another level. Um, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. So it's kind of hard to say. It's just I think these some of these places get pretty greedy with what they, and the fact they can't guarantee nothing. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. Some plans we will. I'm gonna probably try to do some stuff maybe just on the free social media. Because there's ways, and I like to play around and see what bites and try doing stuff for like the new guys starting out, right? Because I know it'd be discouraging for new people, because they just don't even know where to start, and you know, so it's kind of weird because for me it's like I've been in the business so heavily over the years. Now I'm basically almost basically semi-retired. It's fun to come back in and try to change it up. Like, whoa, things are a little slow. How would I approach this again? How, with the knowledge that I have, what would I do if I was a new guy? And I got a few new guys. I got probably about 3 or 4 of you that are kind of a little bit under my wings that I'm nurturing and trying to feed off you guys too, and see what's working, what's not working, what I would do in these situations, um, without spending a lot of money. You know what I mean? Because you can just spend money and it just does nothing. Tony, till we get the new guy trained. Happy Sunday. Elevators are amazing. Rich's guy, he says, I agree. Hit or miss this year. Yeah, I think I just don't know. I really just not. I'm not like spring rush is not here. Like our spring rush is not here right now. Um, but when you start looking and when you start hearing it, and it still hasn't even sunk into my head that when you think about it, I mean, look at the cost of living, right? The cost of living is just astronomical right now. Food to feed your family, housing, material prices to try to do any kind of repairs, try to rent something. It's extremely high, extremely high. So I just don't see. I think there's stuff in the pipeline, but one thing that has crossed my mind that I didn't think about this until I was watching somebody, and they were mentioning, and I went, you know what? I said, because I get a little bit excited sometimes when I think about we do have a lot of wasteful spend, right? But we have to factor in that all this stuff trickles down. Like there's somebody with more money than you, and there's somebody that makes more money than me. But sometimes I have to work for the person that has more money than me, that pays me the services that I offer, or whatever it is. And that whole thing, though, if you got somebody that's not out there, let's just say the gov, not spending money on certain people, and those people are losing their jobs, that does affect. And the fact that it's in the news, because if you control the media, the masses. And so many people listen to that, and when they hear that, and they think about, my gosh, my own job could be at stake because I work for the GOV, and all these different scenarios. It puts people kind of a little bit of like, whoa, let's hold off. Let's not be doing no big, renovations or whatever. You know what I mean? And all that stuff, because it's amazing when you think about how the ecosystem works. I mean, if the garage door companies are just slammed, that leaves more for you to pick up if you're starting out, or just even another garage door company, because they're just slammed. They can't do it all. So that the market will, it'll call for more people in a sense, and you'll have more work yourself. So, but with what's kind of going on right now, unless I keep in my back of my mind, I got that 10% that I go, why do all these dealerships have all these cars? And I just go, that's silly that they have all these cars now they're sitting on. And I thought, you think they'd be smarter than this. And then I sit there and go, what's going to be the next catalyst? Like, what's the next catalyst? Right? The airplanes going into the boom, boom, two of them, the twins, and the economy did something. And then that center did something. Like, what's the next catalyst for this one? Or is there not to be one? I don't know. Maybe they need some economic movement. Do 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 do. Let you know my day has been going well. Good, good. I'm awesome. Commercial door sales picked up here, and residential has fallen off. Yeah, yeah. Residential is always the first with the media. That's for sure. Commercial's already kind of sometimes in the pipeline, and it all changes. It really does. Um, it just all changes. I think it's gonna hopefully be steady. I don't think it's gonna like Mr. T isn't gonna let it fall too hardcore on his watch. He's a businessman. He gonna make something happen. He will make a deal with the devil if he needs to. But I just think right now there's still I just can't believe how much there's just a lot of hatred. There's a lot of things moving. Do do do. Rest just got it's just advertising my party and keeping 20 Mile famous. My strategy this year is youth baseball church, bulletins, race car, more in Google. More in Google. Not a bad idea. Tony always does the tees for the golf place. All kinds of ways you can do it. All kinds of ways. There's more than one way to sharpen the saw. More than one way to sharpen the saw. That's what you have to think. There's always just so many different ways. You got Nextdoor, you got Craigslist, you got Marketplace, and those can be a lot of headbangers too, though. Oh, and the truck wraps. Truck wraps probably aren't bad. Truck wraps probably aren't bad. I've always thought about, and this is just general, right, for business. I've always been thinking, is it better to have animal to some degree or a logo, just an emblem of something, whatever it is, right? Like Nike's got the, right? But then you think of, I don't know if it's still Miami Dolphins, right? They got the dolphin on there or something. I always wonder logos a little bit for some of these guys starting out, or at least do like a couple gear mesh together. You got to stay like the one I think the most is like Jobber, right? They always use the same font, the same colors, very easy to identify. Like a lot of people don't know this one, right? They're not going to know this one. A little bit with the springs, they do this, right? Am I feeling it right? Right? But like I wear these out, like people don't know what this is. They're like, what's your like? Garage door community does. Ooh, that shot. The wraps, the thing you got to watch the wraps. I'm just putting this out there for some of the guys that are thinking about it that don't either, I don't want to say, whatever. Anywho, the wraps, though, what I found out, I did that one time on a lot of personal vehicles. I did not like the wraps on personal vehicles. It made me kind of realize, at least my opinion, was that the reason that people don't do that is because they want to actually have a life outside of work. When I had it on a personal vehicle, you just had so many people coming up to you when you're going to the grocery store, or maybe you want to drive a little aggressive one day. You want a little steam out or something. Um, you know, that stuff can get a little bit crazy sometimes. I think on service vehicles, though, they're fine. They're great. They're wonderful. They're a big billboard especially if you got a van. Trucks don't matter still, but one thing you got to make sure on these darn things, at least this is me. I see so many go around. Some of them don't even have like a big, like they'll do like a half of the vehicle or something even, but I can't tell what the heck they say. Like I'll look at them and it'll be like Enterprise. Okay, Enterprise. I'm like, what does Enterprise do? Does Enterprise rent out vehicles? Does Enterprise cut down trees? Does Enterprise do Uber? And it's like they got the little stuff below. And I'm like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I'll see it. And I'm like trying to like squint to see. And I'm like, they need to say, it's kind of like what Tony was always saying, like with like a business name. I got to agree with him on this. In a business, instead of just calling it a generic one, maybe it's you do. But it really ticks me off on the wrap vehicle ones. That's for sure. Because I see it and I'm thinking, okay, Enterprise. And I go, Enterprise what? Oh, does this even say it? This says doors, right? Doors. Door, right? At least it says Invicta. But if it's Invicta, what's Invicta? But doors. What doors? You know, garage doors, man doors. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to make sure I make that darn near just a hair smaller, about darn, so you can see it. Because like there's sometimes I see it, and I like, for me, I'm always hiring contractors, so I'm like, what's that guy do? I'm like, does that guy do power washing? I couldn't tell. Did you see, babe? Did you see what it said? I couldn't see it. Kids, did you see? Oh, whatever. You know. Hey, what's that one say? Does that one do windows? You know, I can't tell. You know what I mean? But it's like they're so focused on the name to me that I'm like, what do you do? You know, like I can't read stuff. So I see it all the time. Like they put a big name, you know, but it's like I need to know what you do. Scroll down. I can't scroll. Go up higher. Higher network. It won't scroll. I can't see. And truck wraps is where we stopped. Over the past 3 years, I've gotten with it and bought properties that are good for nothing but a sign. Most of my customers see my sign or found me on the interweb. That's good, man. Can't go wrong with some real estate. Go the other way. Why is this thing being so glitchy? Oh, yeah, thanks, Dave. I forgot about the golf tees. I need to get those down. He says, get ready to start dropping them off. Golf course. I guess golf courses. Yes, because golfing is coming up. It's right around. Ooh, Tony's got and nosy neighbors. Depending on where you live. That is also it, too, depending on where you live. You know, and there is a whole ecosystem behind that stuff. I'm telling you, man. Like, you know, like me personally, like you always have to be thinking about an out. You know what I mean? Because they're coming for you. That stuff is all changing behind the scenes. So, if, you know, you got to watch it. You're running a business from home. They're coming for you, baby. They're coming for you. You know what I mean? Like, you got to watch that kind of stuff because the townships are all changing. They're growing. They're trying to find more way to get revenue. Oh, we need to have the fire marshal come in, and you're going to have to make sure you got fire extinguishers in the kitchen, in the bedrooms. And, you know, they can do some weird stuff sometimes. You just don't know. So you got to be ready. You better have a game plan. And like I said, same thing, like a vehicle. Maybe it's got a broken muffler or something on it. Maybe they don't like the way it looks. Maybe they're just, especially if you lived in an HOA or something, so many different levels. Ooh, they get you. They get you. I can't tell you for sure, but you do it with what you may. But I had this great uncle, this really great uncle, kind of like I'm like Uncle Dave for you. Really great uncle. And this is one of those guys that just take the shirt off his back. Just a super, super great guy. Anyways, he had this idea when I was starting out. He said, hey, man. He said, let me, he goes, hey, why don't you just put a little sign on my truck? We weren't doing full wraps at the time. And I was like, yeah, man, it's not a bad idea. He goes, well, I'll put a little sign on my truck, you know. And he goes, I'll advertise for you. And he says, you know, people see it around town. They blah, blah, blah. All right. So I did that. Well, let's just say he likes to live a little wild sometimes. And I got like the one time somebody was riding pretty close to him and he decided to go off the side of the road with a few rocks. He was hauling something, I think. Yeah, I got a phone call. Maybe another time when he was behind a building for some reason. Must have did a job or something and just decided to use somebody's dumpster, which normally he would ask, and he's good for that. But I got a call on that my vehicle, one of my company vehicles, was supposed to be behind a building and dumping stuff in the dumpster. That was fun. Then the one that was the cherry on the top was the one I got a call from a lady, very upset. I think the secretary got it first, and I had to call the lady. And she said that there is a vehicle with our name on it that is driving excessively fast down the side road. And I wasn't having it that day. I was not in the mood. I had a very stressful day going on. I ended up telling her. I said, so there was a vehicle that was driving excessively fast on your road, huh? Yes, there was. And it had your name on it. And I said, okay. And I, why didn't you call the cops? You know, well, okay. I said, if it happens again, pick up the phone and call 911. Call the cops, you know? And so, and she just like, well, and I said, we don't have any of those color service vehicles. I said, it's obviously somebody else. And I don't even know for sure because I think he had a different vehicle. I was really puzzled that it might be him. So what I'm saying is that you have to watch service vehicles. I've had employees that have had problems with service vehicles. Take them home, want to take them to the bar. You know, they're doing weird things. So, but that one was the good. I remember the lady, she wanted to fight. I could tell she wanted to fight. When I just shut her right down, shut her down. You know, I said, why didn't you call the cops? You know, and she just no, call the cops. Maybe he'll get the point. I don't know who it is. Could be my uncle. It could be somebody else. I don't know. I think you got the wrong number. You know, call the cops. Call the cops. So I can't ever say if it was real beneficial doing that or not. Now I think on our regular vehicles it's fine. It's great. Hey, we got 9. Maybe we'll get 10 likes today. Maybe. It's been a hard Sunday. It's been hard, baby. I need another water. Getting all jacked up here. Little drop. Thanks for the comments, by the way, too. I got partials. I don't know why I got partials around. Got me some partials. Evans guy says I might start out with magnet logo. I don't know if I do. Well, I mean, I don't know if you mean with the magnet logo. I'd put on there obviously probably because when I first started out I kept thinking like it was like I don't have my do I have anything affordable? I don't think I have anything affordable. Let me think. I have a business card, but it's got like a Nike. It looks like a Nike. And that was kind of by accident. I remember we were drawing it on like DOS or whatever it was back. We did like affordable door, but it came out like a Nike, and I was like, it looks like a Nike symbol, and we left it. We rolled with it. But in my mind, right when I was first starting out, I kept thinking I was like so enthatched because you're green. I was so enthatched that I was like, oh, I was like, when we get with Wayne Dalton, we're gonna own this state. Everybody knows Wayne Dalton, right? But it's really the real, nuts and bolts are service and people knowing what you do and so many different layers, right? Like a vehicle, right? It's like me saying, dude, hey man, like, come here. Psst, psst, psst. If you go buy yourself a Chevy, yeah, you go buy yourself a Chevy. Everybody in town, man, everybody in your state, your province, your whole country, yeah, man, they're gonna want your service, man. Yeah, you're gonna have a Big Johnson level, of course. And so you're gonna do so good, man. They're gonna have so much business. That's not how it works. That's just not how it works, right? Because there's so many options. So there's just so many layers to things. You know what I mean? So just putting that out there. So make sure you put on there what you do because people need to see it. Do garage door. You can just even have garage doors. You know what I mean? It can be garage doors. It can be just a phone number with a logo. It's fine too. I think a logo is good to start getting something kind of established. Because people do look. I do all the time because I'm kind of like, especially if you have a name that's hard to read. I don't like that. Simplicity. Simplicity. If you're some kids or I yell at somebody, it's all good. It's my fatherly love. I think the wife of Tron might have pulled up. Might have. So, she might have older kids that they're getting to be almost teenagers. They're just blah 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 blah. Gotta love it. Won't be here forever. You'll miss the fingerprints when they're gone. But there is a lot of people. There's a lot of people that get in trouble, especially in business, that they can spend a lot of money, too much on the trucks. They can spend too much money on advertising, full wrap vehicles, signs, and they think that it's just going to pour in. It just don't happen that way. You know what I mean? It's not bad to build excitement, but it also causes a lot of debt, right? And that can cause a lot of lost sleep and things like that. It's just stuff you got to think about. Been there, done that. Oh, oh. That's right. Rusty says you got to know your numbers and make sure you're profitable. That is true. That is true. A lot of people don't watch the numbers. A lot of people don't watch the numbers. No, it's true. I agree. I get it. I've been there. I've done it many a times, right? You get so busy, right? You're so busy in work and you're just doing, you're producing and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. I've been there. You're out hustling. You're like, I can't do this right now. I can't do this, babe. We got so much work going on. We just, and you don't realize there's money bleeding behind. It's like, that's why I always want to build. If anybody ever comes across like a small miniature one, buy it if it's not like too expensive, like a couple $100 or something. I want to find, I always like that analogy. I think my dad was the one that told me it, but it was like a bucket and it's got water pouring in. Right? As long as the water's pouring in and the bucket's, half full-ish, even though it's got holes, nobody seems to care. But when you turn off that spigot, right, your cash flow coming in and there's holes in the bucket, which is can be anything. You're driving too far away. You haven't checked your product, and you haven't checked out prices from other vendors. You might be paying too much for your products and openers or garage doors or lube or whatever it is. You're driving an inefficient vehicle. You're driving a full-fledged semi that only gets 2 miles a gallon. You're going. Every job you're doing is 2 hours plus away. All those are. That's why I'm always kind of like. I thought I heard a good saying, but in my mind, it always comes down to a couple things. Either you charge more or you become more efficient. That's your only two options when it comes to business. You know what I mean? And it's hard. There's just sometimes maybe you're stuck with a certain vehicle. You're not gonna go, ride a motorcycle because it's just not feasible. And maybe you live in a demographic too that just you do have to drive 30, 45 an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours away for your jobs because you're just not a heavily demographic. Your area doesn't have support a lot of people. Probably like if you lived in Alaska or probably like if you lived on an island. I always try to think of extreme. That's how my mind works. Like I have to always tell myself when it's something I'm like, I could do it. I could do it. I mean, it's only an hour and 15 minutes. It's only an hour and 15 minutes. But I've been beaten so many times, right? Lesson repeated until lesson learned, which I'm sure we've all done it. I've done it many times, right? You do something over and over and go, that was stupid. That was stupid. That was stupid. Ain't gonna do that again. I'm not gonna do that again. And you do it again, and you're like, God dang it, why am I doing this again? This was stupid. And you get burned so many times. But I always tell myself, like the California, right? Somebody called me right now from California, and I'm in Michigan. And they say I got a broken spring, and I'm like, great. I go, well, we could get it done for you probably within a week. It's gonna be $1,200, and they go, okay, but there's just too much time, right? Excuse me. There's too much time. There's too much distance. It's ridiculous. By the time I halfway get there, they call me. They say I already found somebody else that'll do it for $600, and I'm like, whoa, but I'm already halfway here. I know that's extreme, but that's how it kind of works when you're doing the stuff that's sometimes 2-3 hours away. It just doesn't make sense. why I got to know those numbers. Be profitable. Yes, it is. It is important. I think it kind of goes back to that whole it's kind of one of those things like you don't know what you know until you know. So I remember with my ex, right? we're at a wedding, and I was still working. I was working in a factory, I think, and I'd hear the whispers, right? The whispers, people be, hey man, that guy over there, he does like a multi-million-dollar, whatever, blah blah. He does decks or something, right? And I remember seeing the guy get up and start walking out, and he'd be back in, and he was like always on his phone, right? And I remember I was like, oh, I want to be like that guy. Like I want to go on these trips, and I want to be like, oh yeah. And then as time went on, I became that guy, and I thought, man, this is not all rainbows and sunshine. I mean, this is a lot of stress, So be careful what you wish for. But that's why I'd rather see more people do it. That's why I'm here to try to educate and try to teach people that it's not just go out there and spend a bunch of money. Go slow. Take your time. Somebody asked me about like, what do I do? What do I, I can watch these online courses. I don't think these online courses are where it's really going to be at for you. I'm not saying you won't get a nugget, but $12, $15, $2,000. I'd rather see you invest that money in some power tools. Go buy yourself the Ryobi, DeWalt, whatever your flavor is, and just start getting out there and getting your hands on it. Because that's the only way. I feel like it's like driving a car, right? We've all done the textbook, right? But until you get out there, watch, like it doesn't tell you in the textbook, what are you going to do when somebody's on their phone, they flip you the bird and they whip off and they stop in front of you? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do when a semi-truck, rolls over and is dumping out its fuel? And, like those are real life where after you've been doing it with experience, right? That's why they always kind of say, isn't there like there's no substitute for experience or something like that? It's kind of the truth. So I'd rather people get out there and start handling the stuff and see if it's something you even like before you go invest a bunch of money, right? Because I've done that. I did trucking for a while. And I remember when I got my CDL and stuff, it cost me $5,000, right? And then I learned behind the scenes, the place I ended up working for later on for a DPW, I got it for free. I could have got it for free. I could have rode it on the truck. Now, laws have changed, but I could have got the darn thing for free instead of me spending $5,000. And then even doing the trucking and kind of went, this big stuff is not as easy as it looks. Shifting gears and cars and when you got to just pull out an intersection and you just get, people got their hands throwing up the little four-wheelers, right? The little people in the little cars, right? They don't understand what it takes to drive this big rig. And so spent a lot of money, could have got it for free, where I ended up working more or less towards the end of my CDL experience. You know what I mean? So that's why I'd like doing this, because I never had no. I was just going to Barnes & Noble and buying books, spending money, and get a couple little nuggets, but never getting the meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? So that's why you can always email me. Email me. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Email me. Email me or comment on here. That's what I'm here for. Because sometimes it's not what it looks like. That's the truth of it. It can be a very scary world out there. And unfortunately for me, it might have been good or bad. I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody. I have an uncle to go to. I didn't have a family member to. I think the closest one that's ever done business wasn't even this kind of business. My wife's grandpa. He ran a plastic injection molding company, and he wasn't even around. Obviously, I didn't even get to know her. Like I think I was already 3 years into the business when the Wifetron came around. So I was just fresh into the business, living in a garage, and trying to keep a roof over my head. Most guys would be happier as an employee. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. I like that. I like that. That's a good one, Rusty. I agree. I agree. I would totally agree. Hey, there's even times I've missed. There was that luxury of when I worked at a shop and that time card hitting, man. And I remember I'd be walking out the shop, right, and you hear the mill behind you screeching to a stop, and you're like, that ain't normal. And that sure as hell didn't sound good, but not my problem. But when you go over to the business side, everything is your problem. Night and day, that's all you're thinking about. You're just sitting there eating your oatmeal, eating your cereal. You know, business, 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 business card. I need business cards. I need this. I need to do this. If I do this, I'll be. What about this? I didn't order that. I got this. I got to do that. I got to do. I got. It's just never ending, never ending. And then when you bring more stuff in, I got enough stuff, right? Every time I look at it, I go, I just, I'm like the only one. I'm always telling myself, I go, even a vehicle, when you think about it, right? The oil that needs to be changed. Like, I guarantee all your vehicles are not up 100% across the board. The wife's vehicle, the service vehicle, your personal vehicle is, I do all the maintenance as what it says. Yeah, right. You're not 1 mile or 10,000 miles over a rear end change, oil change, or are all your tires inflated the way they're supposed to be? Is your vehicle clean like it's supposed to be? Did you, put blinker fluid in it like it's supposed to be? you know, um, I mean, it's just never. And then when you bring more stuff in, right? More colors, you got to grease the axles. You got to worry about theft. Um, So I'm going to be curious. Like I said, Paul, be interesting because that might be an alternative for somebody starting out. Get a U-Haul truck. Just U-Haul for when you need it. You know what I mean? Because I've been thinking about Mr. Evan. Love you. And I was thinking about that situation because I'm already stressing about his job. He sent me a picture. I'm gonna do a little bit of spoiler alert here, so shut her off. But I seen the door was on a skid, and that made me kind of go, a 16 by 7, I believe, sitting on a skid. And I thought, who dropped that on a skid? Was it hand delivered onto a skid or was it dropped on a skid in a sense by the delivery driver? Was there two people on the truck? One person on the truck? That stuff makes me nervous. So hopefully there's no damage, and then if there is damage, what are you going to do if there is damage? You're going to be able to vendor right then and there. You're going to have to order stuff. I mean, it's just all stuff that's just part of the business. But I was sitting there when I'm seeing it. That's why I really love Evan sending me pictures stuff and you guys because I see that stuff and I go, oh, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like I know there is a blowback from having stuff delivered to a job site. Now, Rich B, I think's got her. I like the way he does it. An hour before, tears it out. Delivery guy comes, he parks it inside with the delivery guy, helps him, whatever. Maybe throws him a little lotto ticket or something. And it's pretty smooth sailing. But this one was dropped in front of the customer's door. It makes me nervous. Nervous. What if the customer runs over it by accident? What if the kid, right? The Tony's kid, the 2.5-year-old or whatever, the child labor says, I'll get this door installed. Watch me, mommy. Watch me, daddy. Stop, stop, stop over the door. Or because it's on a skid, it's a tramp, you know what I mean? It's a swimming board, diving board. This is fun. That stuff made me like, oh. The variables. I think I'm just going to sharpen saw blades for the rest of my life. Yes, yes, yes. That was nice. That was... Makes me think of something. Rusty some days. I gotta keep scrolling up. Come on, phone, scroll up, please. You can do it. Website for. I missed something. Let me go up again if I can. Come on, phone. You can do it. Come on, phone. What's going on here? Ever after. It says, I'm looking forward to getting started. Hey, man, it's all good too. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best thing you can do. Like I got the guy down in Texas. I don't know if he's on here. I keep telling him like, dude, get started with something. He knows what it is, but I'm like, get started. Just get started. You know what I mean? Even if it turns into you do one a year, you know what I mean? One opener or something. Just put it out there. Once you start building it, people hearing about it, it'll spread. I had people behind the scenes at a job I was working on. Nothing garage door related. And somebody must have talked behind and said, "Oh yeah, he did garage." Well, so the guy eventually asked me towards the end, "Hey man, can you like look at my?" It was an enclosed trailer. He's like, "Can you look at my enclosed trailer? This the cable's off." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can take a look at it." And I'm like, and it's like I'm like I don't even mess with these anymore. Like I don't even really like I was kind of foobar. I figured it out, helped him. I showed him. I said if it happens again, how to kind of do it. So you can even use some rebar, grind it down a little bit. Spent today getting rental property ready for rent. He says, but we'll work on the website for a bit tonight, tomorrow. That's the best thing you can do, man. That's the best thing. And you're doing the right thing. Like I said, I truly believe if you want financial freedom, you got to get in something that's semi-passive, right? Nothing I think is 100% passive. Maybe stocks or something. You just throw money into it, and that's gambling. You know what I mean? I'd say it's bad, but it is what it is. But the real estate, there's a lot of depreciation, there's a lot of tax stuff you can do, but also you got to do your active income, right? Which is your wherever you're working, a shop or garage doors but that money behind you're trying to make you're trying to buy freedom is what you want. So, but that's what you got to do. Most people won't be doing that. Most people after hours, most people weekend are just tipping the bottle, pew, 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 playing video games. It takes a lot of discipline. Time flies. I don't know about you guys, time flies for me. Just absolutely flies. I got so many things to do. It's not even funny. And it's hard to, and I do once in a while get a little break. But I have to discipline myself too. I have to say, hey, you know what? I can't sit here for 2 hours and just stare at the internet. I got to go. I got to get this done. This has got to get done. It's going to take time. And you know how it is. You always do it. And that's why I call it blowback. Hey, we got 9 likes too. Like I said, maybe we get in. Don't forget to hit the like button. Appreciate it. Oh, come on, scroll. 250, 250. I don't think 250 is unreasonable. You can kind of, the generic for me is always what the cost of material roughly is. You can kind of use that to double it. Now you might be out of the ballpark, depending on your demographic. If you need to, you could always and I have to agree with Russ. You should know your numbers. You should know your overhead. But I do believe there is a threshold that it's one of those things. Maybe you bought a $5.2 million house. You shouldn't be in that. You know what I mean? And then say, well, I'm going to start doing garage doors and I'm going to leave my corporate fighter job that I've made pills for that pays me $1 million a year or whatever. You know what I mean? Well, you can't go out and install garage doors, for $10,000 a pop. It's just not feasible. So, maybe do call or you check around, or you're going to also learn from the customer if you go out there and you tell them, and they go, well, you call them back, which is always a good thing. Ask them, say, hey, why, did you ever end up doing anything? I use somebody else. Well, hey, if you don't mind, would why did you end up using them? Well, you wanted 250. I called 3 other places. The highest one was 175. So I went with the one that was 150 or something. You can't do that. But also maybe you're hungry. You know what I mean? And that's what's great about the free market, right? That's what's great. That's what's great about competition. It's good for the consumers in a nutshell because they have choices. For instance, right? Was it last year? Last year, I had a rental property and needed a roof, right? And I mean, one was a split of $10,000, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna, Now the guy had all the stuff, right? He showed up with his son. He had a nice truck. I mean, he's telling me he's got a race car, and they go this and that, and they got a place on the lake. Yeah, his expenses might be up here, and he thinks and everything, right? But I'm like, you're $10,000, dude. I have a profit, I have a margin, I got to make too. You know what I mean? Like 10,000 is a big lick. So I went another route, and I was happy with it. Rusty. Some days. Does it cost you to install it? Yeah, because you got to do what? Like your labor. You got your fuel, your time, your truck, your insurance. A lot of variables. A lot of variables. One tooth at a time, baby. 15. We got 15 people on here. And we only got 9 likes. Wah, wah, wah. Maybe we get 10. Can't scroll. I'm going to scroll. Scroll. Ever after my normal price, customers door 700. I'm assuming that's including the opener. I think ever after was asking more like for like somebody else's. That's what I'm guessing. Scroll. Dave, I called delivery guys. Jack Wagons, when I saw that, he says, what? What's the guy? Tony, you're charging $700 to install customers opener? He says, I do 200 on opener. 200. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like, to me, but I mean, like I said, if generically, and that's why I might try to tell like the customer, depending on how bad you want a job. Hey, we got hit like 10 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. It just depends. But my brain always goes to, I'd rather give the customer money back, to be honest. But I'd rather not shoot myself foot. So I'd rather just tell them, if you're just looking for a ballpark, it's going to be, I don't know if I'd tell them, but you can have a set price, which is fine. But it's going to be, if I openers are running 200 at the box store, 250, and it's going to be a box store one, I'm going to probably tell them the 250, not to exceed, you know what I mean? But I would make it just an open-ended conversation where it's going to be kind of like, but if you can send me some pictures, I can give you a more defined, you know what I mean? And even if you get pictures, you still say, you know what, I don't know if we're going to need some angle. It could be somewhere, it's not going to exceed probably 250. I don't even know if I would tell them. It could be between 200 and 250 because their brain's going to go right to 200. And then when you're done with the job and you say, okay, it's going to be 25, and they go, no, I swore you said 200. You go, no, I said it could be between 200 and 250. No, I swear you said it would not exceed 200. So you don't want to get that, you know what I mean? I learned this from my body shop guy, right? I remember when he had a van done. He told me it's going to probably take 4 weeks. And I was like, I'm like, 4 weeks? I'm like, dude, like, I just bought this van. I just gave it an oil change. I just got it running. I just cut the catalytic converter. Oh, I wouldn't do that. I just cut the cat off and straight piped it for testing purposes only. This thing running, I paid $600 for it. Dude, I need this thing. I'm dying because normally you're always behind. At least I was. You're always behind, right? Like you always needed to hire more people. You needed to hire more people 6 months ago. You needed another vehicle 6 months ago. You needed to get another vehicle 6 months ago. You needed to get another scissor lift 6 months ago. So I was like behind, right? I was always like, oh my gosh, like it's gonna take 4 weeks. He's like, yep, it's gonna be 4 weeks. And I'm like, oh, well, I trust you, man. I've done business with you before. You're close. You're local. You're normally roughly the cheapest. I'm like, all right, man, like keys. And he calls me like 2 weeks later. He's like, hey, your van's all done. I'm like, what? Huh? How can this be? He taught me a valuable lesson because when I went down there, I told him, I said, I thought you said it was going to be like 3 to 4 weeks. And he goes, I did. He goes, but if I wouldn't have had it done, he says, you're happy right now, aren't you? I said, heck yeah, I'm happy. You got it done in 2 weeks, dude. That's awesome. And he goes, if I would have told you it was going to take a week and it would have taken me 2 weeks, you'd be upset. So he says, was it promise or under deliver? I can't think of it right now. But anyways, he did what he, 24 weeks, got done 2 weeks. I was happy as a clam. But he set the expectation here, and then he went up even higher and got my thumbs up. So that was awesome. So that's what you got, that's why my buddy always told me too, even when it's construction, he goes, dude, he does remodels of kitchens and bathrooms, stuff like high-end stuff, millionaire houses. And he's like, He's like, dude, he's like, you wouldn't believe. He's like, even when you come back to him and give them $500 off, he's like, they are like giddy little kids. He says, because nobody does that. He says, you know, everybody always comes to them. Typically, it's always going to be, well, we found a problem. It's going to be another 10,000, another 30,000. You know what I mean? That's so he says, I set it way up here. He says everything goes smooth. So that's why I always kind of like the not to exceed. If you can say, hey, if things go smooth, I'll discount it. Just something to think about. No, Rusty. It says customers door opener, and it read response wrong. Thought you were trying to catch me. You can do it in Pennsylvania. Scrub, scrub. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Who do you know? Scrub, scrub, scrub. I probably won't stay on too much longer. What time is it? 5? We'll see how it goes. Our rate is $810 on customers Chamberlain installs, and $850 for customers Genie. The Genie. Oh man, gotta be a hater on the Genie. I'm just joking. Tony says I'm moving. It's Pennsylvania. It says give Rusty some competition. Just made up my mind. I'm buying a camper. He says, gonna go park at Rusty's shop parking lot. A big old scratch door surface. That would be classic. That would be classic. I would love that. That'd be some fun. That'd be some fun. Yeah, it's like I said, everybody's area is different. And it just depends on how hungry you are. There's stuff that my uncle literally does, right? He doesn't do much anymore. He's getting up there in some age. But he's dealt with certain customers. And to be quite honest, there's certain customers that he will deal with that I want nothing to do with. Nothing. I already know they're cheapskates. And I'm like, I can't beat his price. You know what I mean? He's going to do a song and a dance and maybe a beer. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's good. That's good. Hey, man, like, let me feed you some product. Like, let me give you like a spring and make $5 off it. Because you just, yeah, just can't. Nope. Nope. Just can't. Everybody's area is different. You know, it's like Buy. Remember Best Buy guy? I told you about the Best Buy guy that came and fixed my machine. And he showed up in a Buick Park Avenue. And it's through Best Buy. I use this as a sub, obviously, and I didn't care, right? I just wanted my stinking wash machine fixed, and I wanted it fixed for free because it was a warranty. Even though my wife stuffed something in there, I told her it was too much, and I think she was the one that caused the problem. Anywho, so anyways, he came and did his thing, and the only thing he really showed me is how to open it, and he still didn't fix it. I told him, I said, well, I said, you fixed it? Oh, yeah, I cleaned out some stuff. It was jammed up in there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, did you run a cycle? Oh, no, no need. It's going to work fine. Like, dude, I got laundry right here, like dirty laundry, it needs to get washed. And I'm like, well, it's running a cycle. Like, you're here. It's taking me like 3 weeks to get you guys out here, like with nothing but back and forth. And he was like, oh no, it's good, it's good. And I'm like, all right. So he leaves, back out to water in the grass or something. Wife come home. Did the guy come? Yep, the guy came. Says she goes to run a load. Machine's still not working right. Luckily, I've seen how he opened the lid. So now I had to open the lid. There's still crap in there. So I cleaned the crap out. I fixed it in a sense. The only thing he did was show me how to open it because I'm watching him. And plus, he also actually, when he was doing his thing, he flooded the floor, which was so luckily there was a bunch of dirty towels to soak it up. Yeah, life is interesting, isn't it? Scroll. Parking lot. I have cheaper competition. It's not price of experience. The customer has from start to finish and afterwards. Tony. So Tanner says, I were in Pennsylvania. Are you at? I said, I'll come over and crush the commercial market. They got two small doors probably over there. What's up, Mr. Tanner? Hope you're doing good. Oops, I hit something. Oh, it won't scroll. I can't get to these comments. God darn it, come on. There it goes. I don't know why it's being so goofy. Missing the point. You have to build brand, people, trust, respect. He says, excuse me, it's not just about selling pays or LiftMaster. I don't know. Like I said, I think that's why I kind of say everybody's market's different. Obviously, I think, what do you call it? Rusty's area is obviously whatever, and I think that's kind of like, I feel like it goes down to that whole thing, right? To some degree. This is just kind of off and left wing here. I had a guy that worked for me, and he was a big, big advocate about obviously, meeting with the customer, stuff like that. And there's really no right or wrong to this, right? It's just, so he always saw, like if he goes to the customer, he can make the sale, right? And most time he majority time did, you know what I mean? But it's tough because there was times that it was like I had to realize that, basically he was on, affordable door and gates clock. And sometimes he didn't, or sometimes he kind of got us into a job that was kind of ugly. And and I'd see the after effects of like, well, did you take pictures? And I'd see it. And I was like, what were you thinking doing this? For me, it's because there's no wrong or right to this, and I'm just talking generically here about stuff. Like I know customers appreciate it, and if it's close, it's probably fine. 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 30 minutes is still even. Whatever, it's that's fine. A commercial, different animal. Commercial is very hard to get into. Commercial, you better, especially if it's somebody you want. Because those people are breakthrough. But the resis just come and go. I still to this day don't remember hardly anybody except maybe a subdivision, a pretty big subdivision. I remember we did stuff but that was an association and they were paying us through that association or whatever. But most time the customers like that and got where it was just like, I'd go back to the old man and he'd be like, hey Dave, I've still been using you guys, it's because garage doors normally don't break that often. I mean, people get a couple garage doors in their lifetime, they perish. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that, but so it's just residential always felt like they could really waste my time. You know what I mean? I got to a span where, like I said, I was so many insurance ones. It was really irritating me. I'd do these insurance ones. I never get the job. And I'm like, what is up with all these insurance jobs? And then, and I'm not getting, just tell them, say like, it's, send me pictures. It's free over the phone. But if I drive out there and, it's hard because like when I think about it for people going to work, right? It's like me telling you, well, go to work and work a couple hours and just sit there or do whatever and not get paid. Well, I'm not even going to go. Well, why do we go to some of these jobs? like, like especially nowadays, everybody has all this technology. And one I can think of, which is kind of a hard situation, right? So I'm gonna use, because I know Tony's got thick skin. So, and I'm not throwing Tony under the bus on this, but it makes me wonder what we could do better as a community, including myself, about when he went to a job. Gosh, I don't know who told me if it was 30 minutes away or something, but anyways, he did a job, right? And I think he consulted with some of you guys too about a price, and we came up with some numbers, and but I was thinking about it. So he's and I know commercials hard to do this, but when I think about a new customer, my little flags start going up. I need some flags. You got any flags? I need some flags. I always have like the green, the yellow, and the red. They always, for some reason in my head, they're always like the ones too they put in the ground for like misdig, for like the utilities, gas lines and stuff like that. That's the flags I think of. Anywho, I digress. But anywho, I was thinking you're going to this customer, right? And let's just assume it's a new customer. And I thought, I sit there and I go, I would probably pre-qualify the customer. I'd probably say, hello, Mr. Customer, where is your location and what is going on? I might get some pictures or a little video if they can send me or whatever. And I just would tell them right off the get. I'd probably say, you're probably looking at $4 or $5, $1,000. Is that something you're willing to? And are you the decision maker? And are you willing to pay that because you're a new customer? Because for me, when I started out with the residential, I remember, man, it really burned me. I would I would bill the customer because I didn't want to spend the time and I didn't really have the knowledge or I didn't have the equipment or whatever it was to accept credit card in the field or certain things, right? So I would bill everything. I just bill a customer. Here you go. Here's a piece of paper. You got 30 days. You can send it, right? Well, I started finding out as I was starting to pick up in business too that I'm getting busier and like it just kind of like dawned on you, right? Like you go down a certain road, maybe and there's a side road and you'd be like, oh, that's right. We did a door down there. Did that customer ever pay us? I don't know. And then you go back at 5, 6, 8 o'clock at night, right? And you're going through paperwork and you're like, oh my gosh, this customer's like 15 days past the 30 days. Crap. Let's call them tomorrow. And for me, it just started compounding because 2 minutes here, 3 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Holy crap, half the day's wasted. I'm calling customers to collect money. And one thing I've learned in business, what really irritates me, is that when money sits, right? Like I've had a lot of jobs I've had in this, like I've bid jobs too. And then 2 weeks or a week later, right? The job is going to go to fruition. We're going to go install it, right? Gas prices go from $2.50 to $4. And I'm just like, mother sons of biscuits, because I did not quote this job at $4 a gallon, and so inflation to me is eroding our dollars. You know what I mean? So it's just like if I told you right now, if I just handed you $100 and said, here's $100, could you buy more with it today? Or could you buy more with it in 20 years? You'd go, oh, probably today because inflation. Like this $100 is going to be $1 bills. Right. So I look at money the same way where I go, I need that money to come to me as soon as possible. Like right now. Like I don't want to deal with the secretary having to call you because I have to pay the secretary. I don't want to deal with you saying I was never here. I want to look at you in the face, in the eyes and say, this is owed right now. Credit card, check, cash, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, whatever you do, I need this transaction to happen right now. You know what I mean? None of this funny, So it's just something I just bring up just to think about, especially some of those guys that are starting out and stuff like that, be cautious. You know what I mean? Like to me, especially when it's new customers, man, the flags are whipping. Like I'm always like, why did they decide to call us? Are we the dumb ones that answer the phone? Did they go through three other garage door companies and they never pay them? And we're they're going to be the fourth that they're not going to pay? Things like that cross my mind all the time. So just a little advice out there. I'll give you another example. This was on a fencing job, right? Fencing estimate. Cap was telling me. He goes, I go into the shop the one day. This was a while back ago. He's exhausted. He's sitting there and just like he looks like me, like he need to stick a cigarette in his mouth. Like. And he goes, I've been running around for this certain company, pretty big company, got many locations in our town, probably 4 or 6 locations, bigger facility. And he's telling me, he goes, he's got me, he wants an estimate on this, and I gotta call the vendor, and I gotta get prices, and then he got me over here, this one, and I'm just sitting there kind of like, okay, Okay. And I said, well, I said, have you done one transaction with them? He's like, what do you mean? I said, like, have you had one bill or done something with him that he's paid you money, $10, $100, $1,000? And he goes, well, not yet. We're just doing estimates right now. And I said, okay. I said, well, this is what I would do. I said, I wouldn't be running around for this dude. I said, we haven't done, well, he's got that one that needs, I think he's going to go with us on that one because the gate needs repair or something. And I said, honestly, I said, this is a pretty big company. Honestly, I said, I would do the gate for darn near cost. I said, because I just want to see the ball move. I want to see when we submit a bill that they come back and go, we need your insurance, and we need this, and we need proof of this, and we need this, and then they just send money out, right? Like I want to see the transition. I want to see how much blowback this thing has. You know what I mean? So I never did the gate, but I told them what the thing. I said I would give them a per linear foot charge. This is what we charge generically per linear foot. And I said, gates are this much per linear foot. Man gates are this. I said, I would not be walking these properties. And I said, until, we build now other customers, not a problem. You know what I mean? They call us, we'll walk it because more than likely they're going to do it. And they've been a good customer. We trust them. They've never steered us or never not paid or nothing. You know what I mean? Not a problem. We're on it. You know what I mean? But this one, I'm not doing 4 or 6 locations giving you prices and all this crap. I'll just give you per foot. You figure out what you want because then things were changing. Well, now they're talking about moving it back 10 feet. That's another, $600 or 600 run foot. No. That's on them. You figure that out math wise, whatever you want. You know what I mean? So just something to think about. Just hanging out. Tanner's got some snow coming down today. Dang, snow still. Just being a bum today. Oh man, I get it. I feel you, man. I've been getting my butt whipped, so being a bum's kind of feeling pretty good. Hi, bro. How are you? Doing great. Hope you're doing good. Is it Ainzar? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Tanner, there's nothing bigger around here than 14 by 14s. That's too small. That's like child play. Tanner, there is nothing. Oh, I'm sitting in the doorway of the shop watching it rain. Must be down by you. I don't think we got rain right now. Do. That's no fun. I don't even consider 14 by 14 a big door. I know that's like nothing, man. That is nothing. Tony says 14. That's perfect commercial door for me. I don't want to go any higher than that. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm with you. 14 by 14 is pretty much I'd say my threshold too. Anytime you start looking at something, it's like, what is it? They're like 14 by 16. You're like, fudge, it's getting up there. What was the ones I worked on? What were those ones? 20 or something? 28 by whatever 16. Oh man, I was way up in the lift. Lift's all like, yeah, it's like we might need a bigger lift. Well, it's kind of when you talk about Arizona, they pay a few $100 to install a system, and that's low, so low. He says, let's see, you all depends where you are at and who you have around. Yeah. When I went down to Arizona, like I said, it was like nothing. They were getting like whatever. It was like $76 per like for a 16 by 7, and the dude had 4 of them on his truck. They were getting paid whatever it was like. It was peanuts, whatever it was. I don't remember. It wasn't $200. I know it was way under. It was in the $100 range or under for a 16 by 7 door. But the guy kind of like didn't really flat out say it, but the way he was motioning, like, hey man, like we get a lot of illegal immigrants, a lot of immigrants, or we just have a ton of blue collar workers, and labor is super cheap. And he handed me the sheet, which I wish I still had the sheet. I don't, maybe it pops up someday. I know I didn't throw it away. But he told me, just said, he says, I am from Michigan. He goes, I am from the UP. And he goes, these prices will not fly up in northern Michigan. And I'm just looking at him like, hell no, they will. Like, I mean, guys would laugh at me if I told them, like, hey man, I'm gonna have you go install this 16x7 door and you're a sub, and basically I'll provide you a truck and some, like, well, you got to bring your own tools, and yeah, it's gonna be $76 and you're gonna go install this. And they just laugh. They'd be like, ah! They'd be like, no less than $200. I'd be like, what? I didn't quote it that high. So it can change. And like I said, if you got competition, like I said, even working with Josh down in Indiana's, I feel like Indiana's, I think they got, was it Gary? Gary's pretty rough, I heard, right? Gary, Indiana. But for the most part, like where I was at, and he's kind of like, this is kind of like the slums. And I'm like, this is the slums? I'm like, dude, like these people around here driving Cadillacs, nice looking Cadillac, not all beat up, not with windows smashed out and with plastic on them, pretty nice Cadillacs. And I'm just like, this ain't nothing. Like, I'm like, I'm like, this is probably like lower middle class to me, you know, like I'm like every time I always go somewhere, I'm always asking people, I'm like, where's the boarded up houses? And they're like, boarded up houses? I'm like, yeah, boarded up houses. They're like, boarded up. I'm like, yeah, like wood on windows, like smash. Where's the burnt houses? Like, that's where I want to know where those at. You know, and they're like, we don't. And I'm like, you don't have those? Oh shoot, you doing pretty good. I was kind of. Let's see, go up here. Come on, scrolling, trying. There we go. It says, shoot, Tony, we have some 24 tall doors around here. That's a good time. We got 28 tall door 1 year. He says with straight vertical lift. Oh my gosh. It says had to put a ladder in the lift, change out the RPM sensor. Oh my gosh. I don't think some of my guys would even. I don't know if they do it or not. If they do it or not. Maybe too much legal labor. It says curses to see if that changes in the coming years. Yeah, that's going to be weird to see if that does change. What do I do? Like zoom in? Can I even do that? Can I zoom in or zoom out? I feel like it moved on me. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say what's going to happen with that whole labor stuff. I always remember years ago when I was watching a video and they were talking about labor, and they were saying why they go into certain states and stuff like that, because the labor is cheaper. So, you know, the big companies do it. They're dumb, right? That's why a lot of car manufacturer stuff right down in Mexico, right? Mexico, because it's cheaper labor. They don't pass it on to you guys or me. Keep scrolling. I have no idea. I have never been or paid much attention to Arizona. He says Dave was just talking about it the one day on a live chat. I'm assuming it will. I remember my mom, she had a place down there, and they I think they had their carpet changed or a fridge. I can't remember. But they basically didn't speak hardly any English. Real nice people. Did a good job. Did a little extra. They ended up chipping the corner of the counter, I think. But you know, did nice stuff. I mean, you know, and they were the cheapest, and whatever she found. So everything, you know, just depends on location. And I tell you what, the guy I worked with down in Arizona, he was a Mexican guy, and he was on it, dude. Like, he was on it. Like, he showed me how to get a dent out, which I was like, he's like, come. He's like, I show you. He took like a freaking nail. You know what I mean? He's like, working this dent out of the front. He poked a little hole in the back of the door, wherever he put it so you see it. And he's like, working this dent out. I'm like, dude, he's working out like a little, he had just like a little satchel. I mean, like this, you know. Just had a little bag. Just like a little bag like this. He had a little, like, one more tool in there. The dude's installing a 16 by 7 door. You know, he was on it, man. He did good. Ooh, watch out on those magnets. Okay, says I will scratch the hell out of the Trailblazer. I don't think I had too much problems. I think I always cleaned mine, because I had black vehicles back when I started. I always washed them with maybe some Windex or something, just wipe them off. And I always don't slide, just, you know what I mean? That's why, I guess window would be nice to put a sticker on the window, but if you want to get rid of it, how you do that? It's not a magnet, you know? But it depends too, right? If you're working in the garage, might be able to get away with it. Just hard to say. I thought about getting some magnet ones again. I don't know why. Oh, I was thinking because if I was using a U-Haul truck, I thought about I just put one on the door. Enterprise, whatever. Enterprise, affordable door and gate this. But then I was just also like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like, it's not like 100%, but it's almost like you get kind of arrogant because nowadays it's like, for me, most part, it's like people can sense your energy, right? And for me, I'm not a scared kid anymore. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. I'm like, this is gonna fly. This isn't gonna fly. We're gonna get this done. We're gonna do you a good job. I'm gonna look you in the eyes. I'm gonna look you in the eyes. I'm gonna shake your hand. I'm gonna talk to you like a man because I'm a man, and we're gonna handle. And if you got a problem, guess what? Guess what? I'll even take it to the top. I'll give you my direct phone number, and I will personally come out here. Yeah, you ain't gonna get no better service than that. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like the vehicle's a byproduct. Hammer's a byproduct. It's kind of like what I always tell Caleb. I said, like vehicles to me, to some degree. I had these contractors over not too long ago, and one had a beater. I didn't care, man. The dude was skilled. He was a skilled metal worker. You know what I mean? But like I told him, I said, you don't walk around at the parties. That's what I'm about. I always say, you don't walk around the parties, right, carrying a hammer and going, hey man, check out my mirror. Isn't that sweet? Dude, isn't that sweet? Dude, look at that. That's a sweet hammer, isn't it? That's how vehicles are, to some degree, to me. I'm glad people have nice stuff, don't get me wrong. But all I care about is the man holding this, doing the work, getting the job done, fixing whatever it might be. My furnace, concrete, putting a roof over my head, or a rent, whatever it is, right? That's what a car is to me. It's just this. But I don't carry this around all the time, right? We value stuff kind of the wrong way, I think. So, good feeling hammer. Maybe this is more relatable. The wire snips. Look at my wire snips. I'm gonna take these around to family events. Instead of showing my car, I'll be like, look, aren't these sweet? Look, I'm gonna polish them up. That's what it is to me. It's just a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool. It really matters how the person installs them, how they do. Maybe the price I got a good price. I don't care. I got a good deal, man. Do a good job. I got a good deal. I got a deal. Rusty Dynamo is out there in Arizona, and he isn't charged $254 opener installs, but you have to also remember that Tommy Malo is selling you courses. So he's added, you know what I mean? He's on Surf Titan. He's selling you. You guys ever see Cardone, right? Grant Cardone. Nobody can top Grant Cardone, right? Airplanes, jets, But what's he also doing, right? He's always trying to get you to come to the seminar. He's trying to get you to come. So that's something you got to remember a little bit too. You got to always take stuff with a grain of salt. So that's just something to remember. You know what I mean? So I could tell you, right? Hey, I had the Ford Raptor. Right? I had the Ford Raptor. Oh, right? I could show you the fancy house. I could show you all the same stuff and say, I'm charging you. What are you guys doing out there? I'm charging $2,000. $2,000 an opener. You guys are pathetic. You're pathetic, right? And I do them for my grandma. I do them for a fake person. I do them for whatever. I write the number up behind the bill. Whatever. I give somebody a little extra money. Hey, give me some extra cheddar. You know what I mean? Make it look good. So you don't know. It's kind of like the whole moon. I don't know if we've been to the moon. Have you been to the moon? I haven't been to the moon. You know what I mean? I can't still tell you if the world might be flat. I don't know. I haven't walked it yet. So it's just, you got to be careful, right? And I think that's why a lot of guys reach out to me about some of the younger guys saying, about the courses and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I don't think it's horrible to read a book. I, but I also, and I ain't stupid. I know what Tommy's selling. You know what I mean? He's selling. He wants. Hey, I even thought about it. I thought about going down, just checking it out myself, just to see. You know what I mean? And or just send a couple of the guys, right? Because it builds motivation. You get to be around more like-minded people. There's some things I'm sure, every time I hang out with somebody, another human or person, Josh, anybody, right? I go to different garage door business. I learn something, but it's genetically all the same, right? Oh, we got this. The truck broke down, flat tire. This guy didn't show up today to work. That's generic, right? That's why I always say there's like a base to it. It's kind of like, to me, I always think about making like a soup or whatever, right? There's always the broth, there's always the water and certain ingredients, but then there's always the little ingredients, that's the nuggets, right? That's the stuff that's like, ooh, what did you use? What did you sprinkle in there? How did you do that? How did you cook it? What temperature? How did you stir it? Did you mix it? Whatever. So, ooh, doggies. I just looked out the window. It got dark ass guys out there. That we might be going here pretty soon. Might be sheltered in place. We'll see. Doo-doo is out there charging 250 full open installed. Tony's. Right, Dave, I got a follow up on that Monday. Thanks for reminding me again. Scroll, please. Scroll. Tanner, you're making my knees shake on those heights. He says, any more 10-foot, my knees start feeling weak. Oh, man, I love it. Come on, scroll. Yeah, Rusty, don't know the guy, but I've read and heard that they are scamming people, way overcharging and giving one quote, charging another with unnecessary repairs on doors. I'm sure it's like, what's that one, Precision? Ooh. East to become a millionaire, scamming people, but it's hot in hell, he says. What's Rusty got? Rusty says he's in the field doing every job, so I doubt he's scamming people. He's in business for once in the garage door industry. We should pay attention to be business part. I think if we were to really think about Tommy, though, I think Tommy's obviously he's selling you a course. He's selling you he's selling books. I think even Mr. Evan picked up one, so that's royalties that he got. You know what I mean? And then the other one would be that we have to remember that he's doing franchise, right? So I don't know about you. I don't know about me. I'm not really planning on doing a franchise. So that's also royalties. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of, they can make it look really fluffy. They got a lot of income. They're not doing one jobs making their profit. You know what I mean? Like door by door, opener by opener. Now, yes, maybe they're charging a fair price or whatever, but they got so many other things that are coming in stream of revenue, which is what I always encourage. That's why I like the real estate. I like, maybe you should do vending machines. Maybe, it's, I don't know. Tornado warnings. I have the radar on. He says, we got 2 tornado warnings. Holy cow. Yeah, like I said, it look like it lightened up a little. We had a dark cloud. Because we haven't had a good thunderstorm this year, so I'm kind of like, pumped about it a little bit. If you Google, is A1 Google is a scam, it's not good. I'm not saying him personally again, he says, but if your guys are out there doing that, it's a reflection of you. It says, and maybe you. Shouldn't be that big. A1 garage door service has generally negative reputation in the garage door industry, with many online reviews warning against using the company. I'm sure they're getting to be just like Precision. Precision. It's just he's got more exposure. You know what I mean? That's straight from Google again. He says, I don't believe everything the internet says, but I heard from people that also homes, lakes where we are from that go there in the winter and have told us that we are fair. Oh, yeah, I know the bill taking about. Grant Cardone is talking about running for California governor. Oh boy. I didn't know that. I know it was that one guy there. I think it was like Meet Kevin. So he was doing something like that. But he got too far out of whack, whatever. Let's see if I can catch up here. I'm going to read about being customers, definition of fair. He says give quality product, upfront pricing. Okay. Rusty, yeah, everyone's definition experience cheap is different. Yes, that's true. Fair prices depends on the job, customers. Scroll, baby. Willing to pay, have good this week. Guy called me after last year. Talked to him, many doors for his son. And he's been loyal to another company in town, but the company soon took over. Ooh, dang, cheap. Better services with more guys being able to take care of him. Yeah, definitely can change, that's for sure. All right, guys, I gotta run. I gotta enjoy this heavy rain we got right now. So hate to cut it short. Like I said, if you guys got anything, email me, text me, all that good stuff. I'm gonna be sharpening a saw and watching it rain because I gotta really enjoy the thunderstorm, man. It's blowing. It's blowing. It's going sideways right now. See you guys later. Take care. Keep your fingers